active criminal case in Georgia is flagrantly at odds with the Constitution. Your letter makes clear that you lack a basic understanding of the law, its practice, and the ethical obligations of attorneys generally and prosecutors specifically. Want to bring in Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, Democrat of New Mexico, and Oversight Committee member to talk more about this. Congresswoman, thanks for joining us on this. Appreciate it. Give me first your reaction to some of those pretty strong words we heard from DA Fani Willis about specifically Jim Jordan.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. You know, my initial reaction to this letter as a woman, as a public servant who's highly competent, educated, understands my oath of office, and who goes to work on behalf of my people every day, I really took this letter as a check on Chairman Jordan and his clearly flagrant misunderstanding of his oath of office, his misunderstanding of the U.S. Constitution and the separation of powers, and also his continued abuse of his position and power. And I think in addition to that, it's really a check on all of those individuals who are sitting in positions of power, who continue to abuse, to bully, and to prop up unjust and unconstitutional systems. And in this case, to the highest levels of government to prop up a criminal enterprise.
Do you think it will change anything?
I think what it does is really put a check on Mr. Jordan to tell the American people that what he is saying is not only factually untrue, but it's also a violation of his own oath of office and his own participation in this criminal enterprise. Now, will it change anything in American politics? Obviously not. This is clearly a political action by Chairman Jordan. And as we're seeing all across our government in the House of Representatives right now, the GOP extremists who are holding the majority are using their positions of power to prop up Donald Trump in this criminal enterprise and these activities, because what they care about more than anything else is not the American people, but their own positions of power.
So you just said it. House Republicans continue to defend Donald Trump, indictment after indictment after indictment. Now we're hearing, of course, of the possible launch of an impeachment inquiry. We know Marjorie Taylor Greene making some threats about that as well, connected to funding the government. When you think about that possibility, what is your plan, the plan of the Democrats, if in fact they launch an impeachment inquiry into the president?